part one. I've got, this pleases me. Oh, check this out. I've got a cool snaky longbow laid out in Osage. This is my, I paid $42.50 total, including shipping for this piece. Almost worked down to one growth ring. It's super skinny, and I was like thinking, it's an inch thick, right? So I can lay out a longbow and then just cut a section off and then use that glued on for the riser. But of course, look at the center. So I need to figure out what to do with this. Maybe a couple short bows going through here, you know, the horse bow type of things. And then, I don't know, crossbows, but I'll figure something out. It could make a nice long kind of a D bow, you know, kind of Cherokee longbow style. But I'm going to ponder that one. Then I've got, I don't know if you can hear me. 1, 2, 3. Work down to growth ring and Osage. Ready for some horse bows. This one I don't know what I'm going to make out of it, because I don't want to necessarily shorten it a lot. Couple hickories ready to go. Couple of black locusts and elm. This is of note. You see that big old honking log with that line down the center? I had the bark on that. I split it down the middle about a year ago and left the bark on, right? And since I peeled the bark off, a matter of weeks ago, that thing is opening up. So, yeah, that demonstrates to me that you can saw it down the center, down to the heartwood. It's going to protect it from getting random cracks. It's going to dry slowly. But oh boy, you know, I wish I took the bark off sooner, because I need to wait a long time to cut into that thing. And it's really, it's really obvious. Where are they? Pardon me. I might have said this before, but these were made out of a section of the tree, and they kind of did this. Same, like drying a year with the bark on, split down the center, cut it into, you know, these sections. In the past couple weeks it worked. That's all right. The nice thing about those little horse bows is they're narrow enough that you can get a side bend. You can heat shape a side bend out of it. We're talking like an inch wide, so that's not major. I'm going to have some points here. The very first bow that I made on my own, in a vacuum, before YouTube, before I had bow making books. This was made out of a hickory sapling that basically I just split. This is half of this short section. Just split it, bound it with another piece of that same thing to make the handle section, and then just bound it with sinew, and then this is the hickory bark. And then put some brain tan leather on that. Stitched it on there. This is my very first working bow. I left the bark on it, and it's not tillered anymore because the bark split off of it. And I'm kind of looking at this thing, thinking maybe I can just disassemble it, take the bark off, sinew back it, put it back together, maybe recurve it, even though it's got kind of this weird, you know, over time it warped. Well, we'll see. That's a bow that I will keep forever. Okay, now on to reasonable stuff. Instead of just, look at me, look at what I have. Estelle, hopefully you're watching this. I'm out of tendons. I ordered some more in. When I get them in, I will do from mixing the glue to the baggy method, everything. Everything that goes into how I sinew back now. Now I can't even say it's disappointing. I made a huge error, but I caught it in time. Okay, looking at that museum specimen, that 150-year-old Lakota bow, looking at the tips, looking at pictures of museum specimens of horse bows, sinew-backed horse bows. I don't know why I caught this. Tip detail. The first time ever, maybe not the first time, but you know I don't do it, the grooves are just straight through. They're not angled. This is the back. Angled like we all do. Everyone in the universe does. Angling the string grooves, because that's the way the string sits in the bow, so you angle them. The native people generally didn't angle them. It was just cut straight through, exactly, with a knife. Boom, little twist, angle, twist, got a string groove. One on the top, on this side, this is the back. Two down here, you tie it here, and then you've got like a slip loop or something up here, so you can just take it in and out easily. Ordered elk back straps in you, by the way, to make strings for these things. Accurate. Well, I'm looking and thinking, and it's like the sinew back bows don't have these cut into them. I didn't see a single sinew back bow, a picture, an actual one, an accurate representations of these. They had grooves like this. This is perfect if this was a self bow. Self bows, that's how they're done. But the sinew back bows, going into Christopher Walken, no, I don't want to. They don't have. How did I not catch that before? In my quest to make very accurate, look at something pretty. I like the way that handle wrap is on there. They were more or less almost like rectangular sections of pin knocks with just built up sinew layer, like a wrap, a band, to keep the string from sliding. Sinew back bows did not have these. How did I not catch that? But I caught it. Maybe, some person somewhere did a sinew back bow. Why don't I just cut the grooves in there? Because there's always exceptions, but when you're striving to make reproductions, you want to have the prototypical bow of that type. You know what I mean? Sure, there was exceptions to everything. People did their own thing. There was no general rule, you must do it this way. So, every variation under the sun probably was produced. But you want to have a prototypical bow. You want to look at the vast majority of museum specimens and collectors' collections. You want to have your bow look like that. Just like Cherokee longbows. Not 100% of them were made out of black locust. Make one out of another kind of wood. But the prototypical Cherokee longbow was made out of black locust. Nowadays, Osage orange, but you go back in time, they like black locust. So you want to match the prototypical one. But thank goodness I caught that. I'm also down here. My goal today is to produce the methodology to allow people to have, picture this with correct tips, a prototypical accurate horse bow. So, looking at my array, this wall of patterns, it's just this wall right here in my shop, patterns. There's my giant bow that I've made up to 200 pounds in self bow, right there. It's like a big beast. It was supposed to be a world record weight. I was going to do it 240 pounds of sinew back Osage. Never happened. There's my my home guard, and then it goes around. There's this bow, that bow, this. I don't have one for a plains bow. I mean, I've made attempts. I've got certain patterns for what I would consider a horse bow up to this point, but I want to redo it so it is accurate, so I can offer in board bow fashion so it's affordable, this horse bow blank, where you actually finish it. I'll have it the back rounded with my radius sanding blocks, and you'll bend it whichever way you want to do it. And then the next step up would be, once I figure out how to do it, and this is kind of a dirty word, but I'm going to say production line, so I can produce affordable horse bows for people. Need to figure out the fire hardening scheme and how I can press the shape into it. That's level 2. Level 3 would be, here's the heat treated and bent horse bow in red oak, heat treated, with the tendons you need in a little baggie of hide glue. Then the next step, of course, would be a little up, but picture this with correct tips. Oh my gosh. How did I not catch that? Completed in red oak, heat treated, bent, sinew back, blah, blah, blah. You know, maybe not with handle wrap and middle limb and decorations and all that stuff. But yeah, got to come up with patterns. Because believe it or not, you know, there are so many fine details that go into coming up with this as a reproduction that is accurate. Now, last bit. In the past, I have argued, and this is going back 30 years, with the English war bow people. You know, and there was this thought that they were all like this. They were all like this. There were no short bows used in the medieval period. There were no recurves used. It was all specific ratio to width, thickness, all rounded belly. And I fought this, and I've, you know, had some bad arguments with people in forums and over emails and stuff. Few of the current members of the British Longbow Society were on my side. They were like, yeah, you know, you don't force the engineering qualities of yew onto elm or ash. You had to build your bows differently. That's reasonable. Now, there's more of a leeway. In fact, in Primitive Archer magazine, they were talking about the short bows that were used in the medieval period and the flat bows and stuff. There's more of an allowance now. It didn't have to be up to Victorian standards of this is the ratio and they're all rounded belly. I have come to think, I promise, this is the last thing I'm going to say, that the people who crave something like this, not the super fast, the super efficient, the beautiful American style longbow in Osage orange, sinew backed, you know, 64, 66, 67 inches, whatever, that is designed just for the ultimate speed and efficiency. People that crave stuff like these, and then, you know, the English war bows are very efficient, but you're not going to be marching through the brush hunting rabbits with them. Different breed within the Primitive Archer Society. The people that want to actually relive the past with period correct weaponry. You know, so it's kind of the circle that came around where I was once arguing with these people, now less so because there's more of an understanding, but now a kinship with them. I just find these things interesting. The relationship of what we identify. You know, look at what we're wearing. I've got my Thornswift shirt on, and I'm a manager of this fine facility for 27 years. I'm proud to identify with that. You know, this thing. I'm an old man, so I can wear my field cap again. E4 Mafia, baby. Stayed there forever because it was the best rank in the military, bar none. You're just kind of anonymous. You know your job. Nobody messes with you. You're not a private that gets dicked around, or doinked around, pardon my French. Or a non-com, you know, or a whatever that has all that responsibility. You just go about your business anonymously. As anonymous as you possibly can. You know, we identify with stuff. I identify with the primitive archery community. We identify with stuff. I don't know what that means other than I need to design some shirts that allow me to identify with primitive archery. So when I go out and about, I've got stickers on my truck, got the shirts. I am a bow maker. Got to come up with some merch, man, along with all these patterns and all this other stuff. The last bit. Feel sorry for me. You can cry for me, Argentina, tomorrow, because it is the 4th of July weekend and it's just the craziest time of the year in the grocery business. I don't identify with it. I am not a grocer. I'm just a guy that does that stuff. It's a job to me, not a life. Inventory time. And I gotta tell you, that my cooler is so packed you can barely move in it. I mean, my cooler is so packed, I've had to put stuff on 6-wheel carts, these big long things, you know, with the big wheels in the center and the little dollies on either side and rails that go up. I have to do inventory. I have to come in there super early in the morning and count everything down to the individual garlic clove. It's insane. It truly is insane. But you know, you just one step at a time, sit down there, count all these stupid balloons that nobody ever buys. How many balloons? Same as last time, but I still have to count them. How many garlic cloves? That's why I enjoy my workshop, because it's a area of sanity. I think I've covered everything that I want to. Have a good one, my friends.